All right, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right, everyone. Oh, wait, I need to hit the reset button. That's more like it. Welcome back to another stream. We are going to be playing some NES Classic Edition today. Because I'm lazy! And my mind was preoccupied again. So I had no idea what to stream tonight. One thing that sort of led to this is that Nintendo made an announcement earlier this week saying that they're basically backtracking on how they dish out copyright claims and along with their Nintendo Creators Program. And sure enough, I looked at my dashboard and most, if not all, of my public Nintendo videos had their copyright claims dropped. So I can now monetize all those videos fully. So we shouldn't get copyright claims for playing stuff like Metroid and Kirby's Adventure and Kid Icarus, Ice Climber, Excite Bike, Dr. Mario, Donkey Kong Jr., Balloon Fight, Zelda 2, Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, and Punch-Out and Star Tropics. So, yeah. We're gonna play some NES Classic. The other reason I picked it tonight was that it was really easy to hook up. All I had to do is just pop in an AC adapter, swap my HDMI cable, and that was it. So, yeah, but you know, this is also one of those devices that is actually, as of doing this stream, is still on the market, and I know some of you guys might actually be interested in seeing it. Some of you guys might not actually have one yet, and if you're looking to get one, you know, you can still get them out there. They're $60 and you get a controller with them, and Walmart actually has extra controllers as well for $10 a pop. So yeah, if you haven't seen one, now you have, and hopefully you guys enjoy this stream. So, but you can also hack these things, but I won't really go into that. I haven't hacked mine. I'm not sure if I will, because I've got a regular NES with the flash cart. But I thought about it. I've just been lazy about it. But we'll see about that someday. So I've also got, so the NES Classic here is actually meant for widescreen TVs. And I've actually got it scrunched in at 4x3, so the gameplay basically takes up the whole 4x3 box there. So the game selection screen actually, you know, extends over to the left and right much more. And the vertical sections, or the vertical height, goes up a little bit higher too. But since again I've got the crop adjusted for the actual gameplay, you know, the sides are cut off. So that doesn't give a great representation of what it looks like on an HD TV, but whatever. So, but all right. Yeah, welcome everybody to the stream. Let's just go through the list here. John Donnelly, Poncho Smith, Gaming Goku Girl, welcome to the stream. Office Grinch, welcome back. Tony Hayden, good sir. Michael Off Grid, welcome back. Raymond, how's it going, man? And Darth, welcome back. Sarah, much appreciated. And let's see who else we got here. Nist and the Sarge. And Gary Davis posted something probably about an hour ago, but that's about it. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. This is going to be a variety stream. I'm not sure how long it's going to go. Maybe just a couple hours. Well, we'll basically try a bunch of different games. I basically had Mega Man 2 up just to test the sound and whatnot. But yeah, we'll go through a bunch of different games. Holy crap, Raymond! I don't know why you spoil the hell out of me, man, but I really appreciate it. Raymond did a super chat for $10. Says this is where the fun begins. So hopefully that actually triggers and sounds this time. But yeah, thank you so much, Raymond, as always. Lord JP, welcome back, man. Welcome back. What game do you guys want to see first, by the way? I know Office said that there's most likely going to be a Castlevania playthrough. I'm not sure about that, actually, because I've played a lot of Castlevania recently. And I think people would probably feel duped if they walked into this archive, you know, hoping for some unique games, and all they saw was another Castlevania long play. Like the 10th one on my channel. Darth says, I'm watching you and also the Game Awards. Oh, that's right, the Game Awards are going on today. That's right. Star Tropics has the Mattel Canadian box art. Raymond says, it's because I appreciate you. Well, thank you, Raymond. Oh, wow, you're right. It does have the Mattel box art. What? Wow. Nintendo, man. Wherever you guys are grabbing your boxes from, you grabbed the wrong one. It's even got 2 seals of approval on it, which it isn't supposed to have for the North American one. Jack is handing out some awards for this year's Game Awards. Also, Bubble Bobble. But you need a buddy to play Bubble Bobble. Not necessarily. So, yeah. Carlos. Hey, Carlos. I haven't ever legitimately finished Star Tropics. I actually played it a lot as a kid, but I never beat it from start to finish. I got stuck at a bunch of different parts. So that's on my to-do list. It's definitely a game I want to finally be able to, you know, to conquer. Along with Punch-Out, actually. So... 2 seals means double approved. Alright, well, while you guys try to figure out what you want to see streamed, in the beginning, we've already got 1 vote for Bubble Bobble, I'm guessing. Let me know. And while you guys think about that, we'll do the old Patreon thing. So, as always, guys, thank you for your continued patronage. Lost a couple, gained a couple. It happens. But thank you guys for your support. Likewise with the recent live stream super chatters. And thanks to the channel members. We actually lost one there too. But thanks to everyone that continues to support my channel. The little bit that I get, you know, the little kickback I get definitely helps to keep me doing it on as regular of a basis as I am. So thanks a lot, guys. So here we go. Back to this. Hey, Chris Bennett, welcome back. And Mike, welcome back. Noah, how's it going? Did Mattel distribute the NES in Europe? Did they do that? I don't know. I don't think it's the Power-Rom on here. I think they just took the wrong box art and that's it, so. Darth says Simon's Quest. Well, see, Christopher, I wish they also put Castlevania 3 on. I love Part 2 and Part 1. I think it would have been amazing if they just had the whole trilogy. So, Grinch is casting as well for Star Tropics. Hey, April. Darth says Simon's Quest. Wait, so we have 3 votes? You guys are seriously gonna make me start off with Simon's Quest? Probably the most boring game to watch on this whole list here. Well, except maybe Galaga. I don't know. I love Galaga, but I don't know how interesting it is to watch. Or Dr. Mario. One of the best games you never want to play again? Castlevania 3 is so good, man. I always want to play Castlevania 3. I should hack it right now on stream and put Castlevania 3 on it just to play it. Mattel equals PAL NES, Tonka equals NTSC. Well, not necessarily. Well, Tonka did they handled the Master System in America for just a short period of time. And then Sega basically said, you guys suck, and they took over again, so. But yes, yeah, Tonka did do some of the Master System stuff in North America for a while. Okay, well, Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, we can do Tecmo Bowl later. Well, you guys said Castlevania 2, so let's go ahead and just do Castlevania 2. We're not going to play this for a long time, and that's one of the reasons why Castlevania 2 is not really a good pick right now, because it's not exactly... Well, I mean, by today's standards, it's a super short game when you know what you're doing. But it is, you know, it's going to take a little while to get into things and whatnot, so... So one of the issues with the NES Classic is the sound is definitely off, and, the game audio, for one, doesn't seem to have nearly as much bass as the original hardware. And, I'm gonna buy the old white crystal here. How much money do we have? We have none. But yeah, I could tell it right away in the music, like, oh man, that is definitely off. It's like, I think a lot of people that don't play the NES religiously like I do, they might not notice. And for the most part, this package here will be fine. And you know, I'm glad I have this box too. It's fun to bust out on stream every now and then. It's very easy to hook up. It's very easy to manage your save files and whatnot. Speaking of save files, you can actually hit the reset button on the console. And it pulls you back up to the menu, and if you press it down on the D-pad, it'll take you to your save spots, your save slots. So I can hold down A, and it basically saves it, and then I can press down to lock that save, so I can't overwrite it until I unlock it, which is nice. And then you just press A on it, and again, you go right back into your game. So if you guys haven't played Castlevania 2, you basically do get experience points whenever you grab hearts and things like that. You'll eventually level up. Your hearts are also your hearts are also good to purchase items and whatnot. Now, I actually got kind of screwed over there because of the input lag. There is input lag on this, and I am noticing it like crazy because I play on my AVS a lot, which has inherently 0 frames of input lag. Any input lag that you feel via the AVS is due to your display, and I've got a very fast response time display, so, you know, when I use the AVS on this display, it feels pretty much just like it does when I'm playing on an NES on a CRT. And I was noticing it big time when I had Mega Man 2 fired up. Yeah, my jumps were being, like, delayed by just a couple frames, and it was, This is kind of a bad... Really, Castlevania 2? You gotta be kidding me, man. Can I jump over him? Jeez. I don't think I've ever gotten caught by that guy before, but then again, I don't... What I usually do in the beginning is I grind out, and, I grind out for hearts in the town itself, actually. And then when I come out of that, I'll usually have enough, money, so to say, to buy the Thorn Whip. And the Thorn Whip is a little bit longer, and it's a little bit more powerful. So that's a good way to get started off in this game. And we just died again. I mean, honestly, Christopher Margo, like, I don't mind the input lag that much for the kind of device it is. It's a $60 device. It's got a ton of games on it, and you can hack it to basically turn it into, you know, a big ROMs list, you know, a big ROMs box, which is nice, which is really convenient. And I think I might actually end up doing that just to have it hooked up to my main TV out in the living room without having to, say, you know, bring out the AVS. And, I can just use that for random, like, Let's Play practice and stuff like that. So considering that, I don't think the input lag's too bad. And actually, it's not that bad, to be honest with you. It's not as bad as, like, playing on, like, a Retron 5 or something like that. So if you guys have used a Retron 5 and you're familiar with its input lag, the NES Classic lag isn't that bad. It's not as bad as that. And it's not as bad or noticeable as in some other more recent emulated compilations like the Mega Man Legacy Collection, the first one, not the second one. The second one has very minimal input lag from what I could tell. It's actually pretty solid, but that was handled by a different development studio compared to the first one. But yeah, this is a good place to grind out, and you can sort of scroll these guys off the screen and then scroll it right back, and just like so. Now, nighttime enemies are a lot more powerful, but enemies do also drop bigger hearts. In this case, these guys are dropping half hearts. So you've actually got full hearts that are really tiny. They're the, you know, worth the least. And then you've got half hearts, which are worth considerably more. And then you've got full big hearts, which are worth the absolute most. And how many do we have? 68. I think the Thorn Whip is like 100, so we're probably not going to be able to buy it after this. And this guy doesn't want to seem to respawn. Come on. There you go. Good zombie dude. Yeah, Castlevania 2 is actually one of those games that kind of gets crapped on a lot. It's really... I think it's kind of like a I don't want to say love it or hate it kind of game, because, like, I enjoy the game a lot. I don't know if I love it, but I've always enjoyed it. I've always liked it a lot. And it is a fun game to me. Can be a little cryptic, naturally, but it is fun still, if you ask me. So this guy will actually sell us holy water, I believe, and that's 50. So much for the Thorn Whip. But we can go and hit start here, and now we can use holy water. The holy water is actually not that great in this game from an actual attack standpoint. It's mainly used for finding hidden rooms and whatnot. So, you know, a lot of these rooms will oftentimes have, you know, hidden blocks you can bust down with the holy water. Buy a Thorn Whip for 100. Nope, because I definitely don't have 100. And I went for a swim and died. So when you first start off, you start off in this town, and you can either go left or right. You don't want to go left yet. All the enemies are quite challenging, but you'll eventually have to go right, get a bunch of stuff, and then you'll be prepared to go left after a certain point in the game. So Castlevania 2, you know, there is a non-linear aspect to it, which is nice. It's not as complex as, you know, your modern Metroidvania, with, you know, how complex the routes are. You basically go right, you do a bunch of things, and you go back and you go left, and that's basically it. And there are a couple of other, you know, deviations to the route that you can do or experiment with, but it's actually pretty simple by today's standards, and it's not too hard to figure out. Especially if you look at walkthroughs, or if you go online, you can get images of basically the entire map layout, which is always handy. And we'll probably just play this for a couple more minutes so we can swap over to a different game. But for those of you guys that haven't seen Castlevania 2 before, this is it. I actually think it's kind of nice they included this on the collection, because, you know, the collection has a lot of, like, really short action games. you know, the first Castlevania, Ninja Gaiden, you know, Super Mario Brothers, stuff like that, Double Dragon 2, and then a bunch of like the earlier black box games, which were mainly like, you know, arcade style games, if not arcade ports, like Donkey Kong Jr., Galaga, stuff like that. Well, Galaga wasn't a black box game, but still a simplistic, you know, arcade port. So having Castlevania 2 gives you a sort of a longer experience. You know, you've got Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Final Fantasy, Star Tropics, and you've got Metroid, and you got Castlevania 2. So it's a nice balance, I feel. So we're in one of the mansions. Oh, hey, Andy, haven't seen you in a while, man. Yeah, we're in one of the mansions now, and these are where you fight your various bosses, and you get pieces of Dracula. You have to basically find Dracula's body parts in order to resurrect him and then defeat him, kill him basically, because he has cursed you. And that's after you beat Castlevania 1, Dracula basically places a curse on you, and that's where Castlevania 2 starts off. Castlevania 2 takes place immediately after the first game. It's one of the very few games in the entire series that actually does that. It actually follows up directly in the previous game. So it was always kind of cool. But yeah, the mansions are where you find Dracula's body parts, and then the ultimate goal again is to resurrect Dracula at the final place and then kill him. Kind of funny, like you bring him back to life, then you kill him immediately. You're like, haha, screw you, Dracula. So what we'll do here is let's go ahead and just beat this place, and then I'll add a save spot, and then we'll go try something else. See, normally I'd have the Thorn Whip here, and I don't have it because, you know, normally I'd spend time grinding out in that first town, but we didn't do that. You know, we tried it for just a little bit, but I ended up spending my money on the Holy Water and the white crystal, which is needed. You'll eventually swap that white crystal out with a better crystal. But the white crystal actually allows you to see the blue floating platform at the very beginning of this mansion. So when you first get to this mansion, if you haven't, you know, gotten the crystal, you know, there'll be this huge gap between you and the platforms above, and you'll be like, how am I supposed to get up there? And we just purchased an oak stake as well. And there are these books you can find in the mansions as well, which sort of give you tips and whatnot. Very cryptic tips, because the translation in this game was kind of bad. The game's pretty notorious for that. Yeah, you see, Grinch, I don't really consider Star Tropics an action RPG. I mean, it's more action-adventure, just like Zelda's action-adventure. Zelda's not a role-playing game. Well, Zelda 2, you could technically consider one. It's got the experience point building and whatnot. Star Tropics doesn't really have that either. I mean, it's like, I compare Star Tropics a little more to the original Legend of Zelda, except Star Tropics is definitely geared more around the actual difficulty. It's got really difficult sections, lots of memorization and stuff like that. And the game is also divided up into chapters too, so it's kind of like a linear action adventure game. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a great game. I definitely don't consider it an RPG though, by any stretch of the word. So Dracula's rib here, when you get that, it actually provides you a shield. And there should be some platforms here to let me... Yeah, right here. We can fall down. And this is sort of, I don't want to say really a shortcut, you know, back. But we'll go ahead and exit out this way too. But yeah, a lot of people have a tendency of classifying games like that as role-playing games, but they're not really role-playing games. You know, role-playing is You know, high character customization, experience points, stat building, stuff like that. Just because you find items here and there that alter your character or help you out, it doesn't necessarily make it a role-playing game, if you know what I mean. But it, you know, doesn't take away from the fact that Star Tropics is still an amazing game. I highly recommend, you know, everyone out there play it. Alright, so I actually tried doing select and start to pull up my Power Mappers menu like I'm on my flashcard, but I'm not on my flashcard, I'm on the NES Classic. Let's go ahead and hit reset. So let's go ahead and hit down. And... oh my god, okay, so that's actually a big problem. Damn you, NES Classic. So, alright, so here's a really nasty thing about this. You have to read the options down below. So it says, you press down to lock and unlock. And I was sitting here trying to figure out how to lock and unlock it. So if it's, whatever you do, if you press A on this, it'll actually take you to the save spot. And so we pretty much just lost all our progress there. So that might take a little while to get used to for people. So... so what you have to do is, if you want to save it, you have to be up where the wings are, and then you press A. You have to unlock it, press A, hold down A, then it overwrites the save. So, there you go. Alright, so what's the next one on the list, guys? What did you guys want to see? Alright, let's see. Alright. April asks, does the controller work well? Yeah, it does work well. I actually took one of these controllers apart last week, and it does have slightly different internals. Like the membranes are a little bit different. The D-pad membranes are especially a little bit smaller. So I find it's actually easier to do diagonals by accident on this version of the controller. But overall, it feels really good. It's really snappy. It's got the same shape. Slightly different texture from the original NES controller. But overall, it's a pretty great recreation, all things considered. A lot of third-party controllers are kind of awful. But Nintendo gets, I think, about as close as they probably could to the originals without replicating the internals 100%. So, hey, Arioka, welcome back. The input lag, I mean, the input lag is going to be the same for all games, Arioka. I mean, it's, I don't know. I can't really tell you how it is for Punch-Out specifically. What I can tell you is it's okay for everything on here. Let's see. What else is there? Who owns Sunsoft's IPs? Maybe Sunsoft. Is Sunsoft still around? I thought someone owned Sunsoft's stuff. If not, Sunsoft was one of those, like... one of those companies kind of like IRIM, where, like, they're kind of technically still around, but it's like a 1 or 2 man group that just licenses out their stuff. I don't know. Let's see. Star Tropics. Double Dragon 2, says Tony. Raymond says Kirby. You want Cool Borders too, Darth Lilith? You know you could just go buy the actual PS1 version for, you know, like $2, right? Save yourself $98. Buy the actual PlayStation version. So... Star Tropics. No, I did not, Arioka, and I don't plan on getting one, no. Unless it gets hacked wide open and the emulation stuff is fixed, I don't plan on buying one. PS1 Classic has a lot of problems. Sony clearly rushed that thing out just to make a quick buck, which is sad because you would expect a lot more from a company like Sony. Wayne says Donkey Kong Jr. Office is Double Dragon. No, Tony, Konami owns Hudson. So... Okay, you guys aren't helping me out here. So you know what? I'm gonna go against the grain and, gonna play a couple minutes of Kid Icarus. So we will do that instead. Well, I don't know about has been fully hacked, Wayne. Maybe it has. Darth, yes and no. Yes, in that if you have a keyboard that it works with, sure. No, in that it doesn't work with most keyboards. So a lot of people have been trying it, and the escape function has not been working for them. So, well, the thing about PS1 emulation Arioka is apparently, John Linneman of Digital Foundry posted an amazing video last weekend that explains it very well. It's on the PSP, it's not 100% emulation. It's actually running native code, and because I guess one of the chips inside the PSP is basically either compatible with one of the chips that was in the original PlayStation, or it is one of the chips that was in the original PlayStation. So a lot of those games are actually running natively. They're not actually being fully emulated per se. And that's why the PSP's quote-unquote PS1 emulation is so great. It's, you know, it's almost like running the game natively as opposed to actually emulating it, if it makes any sense. I'm terrible at explaining these things because I don't have... You know, I kind of get the gist of what these guys are talking about, but I also don't have the means to really explain it. But I highly recommend watching the Digital Foundry video, DF Retro video, that was posted last Sunday. It is very, very good, and it'll put things into, you know, a really good perspective, so... And it's the same with the PS Vita, you know, it's basically got that hardware compatibility, so it's not using software emulation entirely. So if you guys have never played Kid Icarus before, it's a pretty fun game. And this is one I've actually been meaning to do a Let's Play on for a long time. And I actually put it off for a long time because of, you know, all the Nintendo copyright claims and whatnot. But it seems like Nintendo has been backtracking on that as of this week. And so we'll see if we get any claims on this video. We'll see if they're, you know, 100% to their word. But it's actually was kind of nice. I looked at my copyright claims on my channel, and all the ones from Nintendo were pretty much dropped. So I basically got full monetization control of my videos that feature Nintendo content, which is nice. Which is also sort of a catalyst for this stream. It was sort of to test that as well. So... Alright, see ya, Andy. Hey, John Smith, welcome back. Yeah, Kid Icarus is a great game. It's a great, early-ish NES game. Really creative with its, you know, platforming and whatnot. You've got these Grim Reapers. When they look at you, they'll start to freak out, and then they'll summon their little baby Grim Reapers. And we're dead. And that's that. So we'll do a more serious take on Kid Icarus later on. No, not today, but you know, in like a Let's Play or something like that. So here's the original Mario Bros, which is a port of the Mario Brothers arcade game. Hey, Boston Burke. But yeah, Kid Icarus is one of those games that definitely requires you to be on point and be really familiar with it, and I am definitely not with it right now. So Office says he would always just screw around on Excitebike instead of actually playing. Just run the first few tracks over and over, running your back wheel into the front wheel. Jeez, trying to crash them. But yeah, as far as the PS1 Classic, plugging a keyboard in and hitting escape isn't necessarily hacking it. That just allows you to access special submenus and stuff like that that'll allow you to apply like scan lines and adjust the refresh rate and stuff like that. It doesn't actually allow you to blow the system wide open and load your own ISOs and stuff like that. That's what I mean by hacking it. So if the PS1 Classic is hacked and you can load your own ISOs and maybe they fix the emulator that's on there, or they someone like puts a different emulator on there, then I'd consider buying one just to use it as like a PS1 flash card, if you will, because PSIOs are kind of expensive and you need to know someone that can install them, and so it's not cheap, and just having a really solid like PS1 emulation box would sort of fit that bill for me. But yeah, the 2018 YouTube Rewind, I have not, Raymond. I don't really ever watch the YouTube Rewinds because it's all like the really popular channels that I don't watch. I don't watch any of those channels that are featured in those videos generally. So I live in the more obscure end of YouTube. Not the PewDiePie end. I actually don't mind PewDiePie. I've watched several of his videos over the years, and he's a funny dude. But a lot of the other guys that are featured, I don't subscribe to any of them. I don't really watch any of them. So yeah, I definitely have not watched it. So let's go ahead and do this. For those of you guys that haven't played Mario Bros, it's a single screen arcade game. The idea is to basically hit enemies down from below. You basically smack them like that. You can use the PAL switch here, which will basically, hurt everything on the screen, or it'll disrupt everything on the screen. Some enemies later on require more than one hit. These Koopa Troopas early on, though, or these turtles, I don't know if they were called the Koopa Troopas yet. But these turtles in the beginning, they're pretty easy to deal with. And then the last one basically changes colors and starts to run a lot faster. Hey, Dave, how's it going, man? But yeah, this was a pretty good conversion of the game. I think it was probably the best version at the time, the best home version at the time. It's still off from the arcade game. The animation's not as good. The resolution I don't think is as high, and the sound effects aren't quite as good either. And the gameplay isn't quite as challenging as the arcade version. I can actually make it quite a ways into this version of the game without having too much trouble. Whereas in the arcade version, the difficulty is a lot higher, if I remember correctly. But it's still fun to play. I still like this version of the game. And so this is a bonus stage you get to once every couple of stages. And if you can get into a rhythm, you can grab all the coins, like so. Although I missed getting those 2 coins at the same time. And let's just jump like that, and we got it. Leo says he stinks at the bonus stage on this port. Never have troubles in systems like the 7800. Well, it's because the 7800 version is not nearly as good, Leo. You're only good at the crappy versions of the game, Leo. I'm just kidding. Man, I really hope a 7800 flash card comes out sometime in the near future, because I would love to play games like that on stream. I really don't feel like rebuying a whole 7800 library again, because I've had a 7800 library multiple times. And there we go. Bam, that's it. Yeah, Mario Brothers on the 2600 is one of those games that probably shouldn't have been able to been done, but it was, and from what I understand, it actually still plays alright, which is kind of interesting. And I'm giving 7800 Mario Brothers a bit of a hard time just for fun, not necessarily because I think it's a bad game or anything. It's a good game, 7800 is actually a pretty solid system for these types of arcade games. The quality overall still isn't, I don't think, anywhere near as good as the NES versions of, you know, like Mario Bros, Donkey Kong, stuff like that. But, you know, the 7800 ones are still, you know, quite solid. They're a good step up from the ones on previous systems like, you know, the ColecoVision and whatnot. So 7800 is definitely, you know, a nice system for those types of games. It's got, you know, it's got Miss Pac-Man on it. It's got Donkey Kong Jr. And he woke up. I was expecting him to actually stay, you know, stunned for a little bit longer. So the enemies will actually wake up, and when they wake up, they become a little more aggressive. Paltrow remembers playing this on a Commodore 64. Nice. Speaking of Commodore 64, I actually thought about selling mine. I don't know if I'm going to actually do it, because I don't know. I feel bad when I get rid of real hardware, even if I don't use it. But, man, I never have the urge to try it. Getting, you know, multi-disc games to work is kind of a pain with the SD reader I have. It's just not the experience I was hoping it would be when it comes to, like, you know, streaming and whatnot. I like my computers like the Amiga or the Atari ST, where it's basically you pop in a disc, you know, you access the disc and it just runs, and it's kind of like plug and play. Whereas the Commodore 64, you know, you need to type in these commands every time you want to start a game, and load times are super long, and I don't know. Ugh. Alright, we're just going to let him fall down there. And then just, if you smack them towards the middle, you'll actually hit them straight up. And what's nice about hitting them straight up is that you can hit them again. So guys like these crabs, they require 2 hits. But if you hit them too far on one side, you'll actually bounce them, you know, in the, like, the opposite direction. Whereas if you hit them, like, dead center, they'll just bounce straight up. And when they bounce straight up, you can just time it to where you hit them again right as they hit the ground. So, that's really nice. Do I have an interest in the Mister? Yeah, no, I do have an interest in the Mister, but, you know, it's a lot to keep up with right now, to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of news constantly with the Mister, and it's overwhelming. It's really, really overwhelming. And I'm so, you know, for that reason, I'm not really interested in it at the moment. But once, you know, things kind of slow down with it, I'll start looking into it and seeing what it entails to, you know, get everything working on it and whatnot. The thing with me is, like, I don't need a lot of what it offers, because I have the original hardware, you know, from my NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Jaguar, Neo Geo CD, stuff like that. You know, the list goes on and on and on. I've got a couple dozen systems here that, you know, I have, and I have the ability to you know, either play CDRs or flash carts or whatever. But there is obscure stuff that is kind of a pain to get that the Mister kind of excels at, from what I understand. So it does MSX, it'll do Amiga, Atari ST, stuff like that, from what I understand. Sharp X68000, blah blah blah. That's really cool to me. And I could definitely see myself, you know, getting one in the future just for that. Hey, liberal arts guy and Chenti. Yeah, well, exactly, Chenti. Load star comma 8 comma 1. Yeah, that's basically the load command. The other thing about my Commodore 64 is, like, a couple of the buttons. I think it's the A button in particular, which is a required part of that load command. Doesn't work that well. You have to, like, hit it really, really, really hard, or tap it rapidly for it to actually work, and that's really annoying to me. Maybe it's possible to open up the keyboard and see if there's a way to, like, clean the contacts or something. I don't know. But yeah, every time, so with the Commodore 64, every time like you need to load up a new game, I can't remember if I had the power of the system off, or if there was a way to like reset back to the basic screen. But also games would take forever to load, and sometimes they just wouldn't even work because I've got like an SD to IEC reader. So when you're experimenting with these games, a lot of times they don't even work, and you've got to spend minutes and minutes and minutes waiting for them to load, and then they fail to load, or they glitch out or crash or something like that, and it's just kind of a pain to deal with. And I'm thinking about just getting rid of it completely, just so I don't even have to worry about it anymore, and maybe just putting that money towards something else that I need for the stream and whatnot. Either another flash card of some kind or some kind of mod for another system. Yada, yada, yada. So we'll see. You gotta watch out for those fireballs. So bam, nice. Oh, we missed it. Actually, not nice. So these ice guys as well, they freeze the environment. And you don't want to touch them because they will kill you. But once they freeze the environment, you know, ice physics start to apply. And let's actually go ahead and waste this power block. Waiting for other enemies to come out. See, I was trying to wait for more enemies to come out, but apparently they didn't want to happen. That fly is going to come back, and we're dead. The origin of ice levels on platformers. I wonder what game had, like, the first set of ice physics. I don't know if it's this one. It very well could be. I'm trying to think of other games from this time period that might have had ice physics. Now, while I played a lot of, you know, early era arcade games, you know, late 70s to early 80s, I haven't played as many as I would like, because there are so many. There are so many obscure ones that I haven't even played yet, or haven't even heard of. Acetone and a Q-tip. Right on. Hey, MD Mister. What's going on? Welcome back. Alright, well, I think that's probably enough of that. Let's go ahead and kill ourselves and swap games. Am I planning on playing through Super Mario Brothers again? Probably not. Oh, well, Grinch, like, I've owned and sold many systems over the years, so yeah, it would not be the first time that I have sold something. The thing about the C64 is it's one of those things where I could just use the Mister to play it in the future, and that would probably be a better solution. Maybe even skip all the long load times and stuff like that. But I actually own an Atari ST. I own a 520 FM. So with the ST, as long as I can get original discs, I can just pop them in and play them, which is great. And Per Almerid actually sent me a PS1 controller converted to work with the Atari standard, which will work on Atari ST, Commodore 64, and stuff like that. So I need to fire up the Atari ST so we can do an Atari ST stream and while using a PS1 controller. So that'll be great. So Grinch says Star Tropics. Leo says Bubble Bobble Time. I don't know if she is still out there. Gaming Gecko Girl. But she requested Bubble Bobble earlier as well. Oh no, there she is. Right as I said that. Let's do Bubble Bobble real quick. Arioka, I did sell my FM Towns Marty, yeah. A big reason I sold that was that it was not functioning right for me. It had problems, and so instead of sitting on, you know, a $400 brick, I decided to go ahead and just, you know, get rid of it. So something else I wanted to mention, and I don't know if other people have this problem, but through my capture card and on my TV here, the saturation on this thing is like super light. It's very, very desaturated, I guess is what I should say. I had to crank the saturation up quite a bit just to get it to look somewhat colorful. So that's something to be wary of with the NES Classic. And I think like how things look on it is going to depend on like your television settings and whatnot. I went into my capture card and cranked the saturation up really, really high. And I could adjust like the color correction filters through OBS, but I haven't done that. So just something to keep in mind when you're playing this. Towards the end of the stream, what I'll do is I'll fire up Super Mario Brothers or something, and I'll turn the saturation back down to the default, so you can really see how desaturated the whole thing is. So John, we probably won't play for 100 levels, so I wouldn't even worry about that. Hey, Darren Campbell, welcome to the stream. You're playing the NES Classic today. Forgot how hard Gradius is. Yeah, well, Gradius is a tough game, absolutely. It's definitely one of those games that requires memorization. How many systems that you've sold do you regret? Well, I've never had a system like the Commodore 64 that it was such a pain in the ass to get working. So, so this is kind of a different situation, if you know what I mean, Grinch. So, yeah, no, I've regretted a bunch. I've sold my Apple Pippin, even though it was kind of crappy. They've like doubled in price, so getting another one is really cost prohibitive. I sold my Vectrex, which is a big regret because it was, I got a really good deal on it. One of the fellow viewers, was kind enough to really help me out with it, and I ended up basically selling it for what I paid, which wasn't much. And now, I mean, they've gone up in price, obviously, but it's a great system. I've sold so many other systems that obviously I regret. My PC Engine Super CD-ROM attachment. I had a CDI. Getting good boxed CDIs in working condition isn't as easy now. I had a Super Graphics boxed and complete. Those have gone up in price since I sold mine. I had a US box Turbo Duo several years ago. Sold that. Obviously regret that because they've skyrocketed. But, there are times where you have to sell stuff no matter what. You got to put food on the table, basically. And, that involves getting rid of stuff. It just, it happens. And then there's stuff you absolutely like you'll never use. Or you've had them for a couple years and you haven't even touched them. Like that's, I might as well put that money towards something I will actually use. Something else that's obscure. Like I paid for a Nintendo 64 Ultra HDMI mod, which was really expensive, and that's money like a C64 could go towards. Maybe I can get $100 for my C64. Because it's a boxed one, it's in good shape. Aside from that A key issue. And it's got the SD to IEC. Or because the SD to IEC was actually funded on Twitch by donations, I could ask viewers like what they'd like to see that money put towards. If there's anything in particular I don't have that they want to see hardware-wise or mod-wise or whatever. So, but let's go ahead and jump into this. So Bubble Bobble's a fun game. This is an okay port, not the best port. It's not as good as the Master System one, but it's still fun. And the idea in Bubble Bobble is to basically shoot these guys and then just jump up, hit the bubbles, or you can land on the bubbles. I think if you hold down the jump button, and when you land on the bubbles, you'll actually bounce off of them. You'll jump high enough. But yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of selling regrets as well, but there are situations I've been in that have been difficult to get out of without, selling my stuff. And it's kind of a depressing topic, not always the most fun to talk about. I'm sure it's not the most fun for people to hear. But, I definitely envy the people that have been able to go their whole lives without selling anything. But I've also been the kind of person that's always done, like, trade-ins and stuff like that, so... if I get bored of my games and there's something else I want, I just go and I trade my stuff in. These days, like, while I still do that a little bit, I don't do it as much as I used to. I try to keep my stuff now, unless it's absolutely necessary to sell them. You know, say, like, I'm really far in debt or something like that. Which I'm actually kind of getting close to that point again. So, we'll definitely have to think about that. But, you know, I've definitely tried getting better about it, especially now that YouTube and Twitch has become such, like, a staple in my life at the moment. Having things like flashcards, real hardware, and all that stuff has been even more important than it has in the past. So I haven't, aside from very specific examples like my FM Towns Marty that Ario could mention, I sold that because it was really expensive and it was giving me lots of problems. And it was better to just not have the hassle of having to deal with it, basically. I miss it. Like, very, very few people stream that system. I was one of the only people that streamed it on Twitch, especially at the time, you know, 2-3 years ago. So having consoles like that is really awesome. Like, I've got a Nuon, which we're gonna stream it sometime really soon. Like, very few people can say they've streamed a Nuon, especially all the games released in the United States, you know? So we're gonna be one of those people that can say they've done that. So, you know, keeping my original hardware has basically become a lot more important. Whereas in a lot of other cases, like, I didn't necessarily need original hardware for a lot of this stuff because I could emulate it, and emulation was fine for me in a lot of cases. But with YouTube and Twitch, like, there's been a much greater focus on using real hardware. And real hardware is the most fun to use. You know, even if emulation is an option, there's nothing like using real hardware. But real hardware is also really expensive. And, really, really expensive, so. But then, yeah, again, like I said, there are the cases where, you know, there are good reasons to get rid of what I've got. And, you know, the FM Towns Marty was one. The Commodore 64 is kind of turning into one of those where it's just more of a hassle to have around than it is, you know, to not have it around. So, might as well just not have it around and get something that is useful for the stream, but also more enjoyable for me to use. Hell, I mean, maybe even, like, get rid of it and put the money towards, like, funding an Amiga. Like, that's a way better investment, in my opinion. The Amiga seems a lot more fun, a lot less of a pain to get running. You know, pop your discs in. It's got a, you know, a visual GUI, so it feels a little more modern. And, you could just run your games through that, so. Konnichiwa! But yeah, no, there's definitely been a lot of stuff, aside from that I've regretted selling. But in a lot of cases, I've also sold a lot of my stuff because, like, I've sort of panicked, financially speaking. Like, I had a big sell-off earlier this year, unfortunately, and I ended up selling a bunch of stuff that I didn't want to sell. Like, my Japanese Castlevania 3, you know, I ended up selling that. And when you sell this stuff, you always end up taking a loss on it, too. When you sell, like, in times of, like, panic and whatnot, you always end up taking a big loss, so... whereas if you sell really slow, you know, you're really patient, you can usually, you know, you should be able to get most of your money back, if not all. You might even make a couple bucks. But when you're kind of desperate, you usually will take a loss. There we go, we just bounced off the bubble. Yeah, Bubble Bobble is actually a really fun game. It's also pretty difficult. It's definitely pretty difficult, but, you know, if you're patient, and you kind of understand the mechanics pretty well, you know, like bouncing on bubbles and whatnot is really, really important. There are some areas or some levels where you pretty much have to bounce off the bubbles in order to get out of, like, you know, trap scenarios. Like, if I jump, like, in these cubbies on the left, if you get stuck in there, you have to bounce off your bubbles in order to get out of that room. And we've also got power-ups, too, so my bubble's actually shooting out, like, farther and faster. Bubble Bobble is definitely meant to be played with 2 people, but I think it's a really fun and satisfying single-player game, too. I always enjoy playing single-player game or playing multiplayer games solo, because there's more for me to do. And, I'm the kind of person that likes a greater challenge. When there's a greater challenge, it's more interesting for me to play. Whereas other people out there like having, you know, that nice co-op gameplay. Yeah, Bubble Bobble's really fun. Like I said, this isn't the best version of the game. It's actually kind of surprising they put this on here, to be honest with you. I mean, it was a really popular game back in the day. Like, I remember a lot of people talking about this one on the NES. And we're getting wrecked. Like, a couple of my neighbors had this game. I knew friends that would rent this one all the time. It's good stuff. It's a fun game. It's a fun version. The Arcade Archives release of Bubble Bobble? And I can enjoy Shadow of the Beast. Yeah, hey, I enjoy Shadow of the Beast on other systems. Like the Genesis. I like that version. And I love the Atari Lynx version is fantastic. So we'll do just a couple minutes of Star Tropics just to show you what it's like. Yeah, Grinch. I know that feeling too. So a couple of, about 10 months ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Was sent to the emergency room. They sent me via an emergency escort service or whatever, and the trip to the emergency room ended up costing me $1,200, and the trip to the trip in the ambulance was another $900. And I had just sold my pinball machines. I got about $6,000 for my pinball machines. I had 3. And $2,000 of that, one of the pinball machines basically went straight to medical bills. And yeah, I was devastated, man. I was just like, I sold these for that, and it sucks, man. So like, there are times where like you'll sell your stuff like as a good-natured thing, like I'm gonna try to get ahead, and then you get slammed with something like really big, and you're just like, that was a complete waste. Like I feel like things might have turned out differently if I didn't sell my machines. Hey Ariella, welcome back. So yeah, we're gonna play this just for a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and just jump in and register your name. Let's see. We'll call him Jim for Jim's Retro Zone, since he's not here right now, apparently. Jim can live vicariously through... I forgot what your character's name is in this game. Yeah, so and that's actually one thing that worries me too. Is like, man, I've known multiple people that have had like their engines blow, and man, what am I gonna do in that case? Take out another car loan to buy another car and to put myself even farther into debt? Like, yeah. So Star Tropics is, it's kind of like gameplay wise. Once you're in the dungeons and whatnot, it's like an action game. Zelda-style dungeons in a way, but definitely more focused on the action and platforming and stuff like that. Outside the dungeons, you basically have chapter by chapter. You go chapter by chapter, and each chapter has towns and things like that, and it's got a world map. So it's like, it's got elements from like Legend of Zelda and some RPGs like Final Fantasy, but it's every area is much more condensed and linear in a way, but it is focused heavily in the puzzles. And if you can get stuck quite a bit on the puzzles as well. So having a walkthrough when you play this game isn't a bad idea. So, Hitomi, welcome to the stream. Thank you. Thank you for checking it out. Damn it, Jim. Avenue pad. Yeah, so something about the NES Classic as well. I'm not sure if you guys can really tell in the footage, but the screen scrolling does actually shimmer a little bit. Not so much up and down, but left and right you'll notice some screen shimmer. To It's not as noticeable on this display that I'm using, but when I play it on my big screen TV, it is very, very noticeable. So this is also one of those games where you pretty much have to talk to everybody in the town before, you know, you can go to the next area. So let's go ahead and just try to talk to everybody here. Dip that letter in water. So I actually had a boxed Star Tropics that was basically, it looked like the shrink wrap had come off of it. And it looked like the shrink wrap had come off of it and no one had touched it. The letter was actually glued to the manual, the back of the manual, and I was like, oh man, this must have just got stuck here because like it's been in storage for so long. And so I ripped it off. It turns out that's like stock. That's like factory right there. And I had this game that was like 30 years old, basically like brand new, and I defaced it. So now that we've talked to everybody, like this guy will let you through. So that's one of those quirks about Star Tropics. Nintendo did fix the screen shimmer with the SNES Classic. Yes, they did, Arioka. Yeah. He's dead, Jim. So, that's a fun little story about a box Star Tropics. I actually ended up selling that to a friend a couple months ago when I had my most recent big sell-off. Alright, so yeah, here we go. Star Tropics. So you actually move on a grid in this game. There's no diagonal movement. That's actually one of those things that was, in a way, improved upon in Star Tropics 2. Although that can be sort of argued in a way, because Star Tropics 2, I don't think the combat or dungeons are anywhere near as interesting as this game. There's not nearly as much danger in Star Tropics 2. Star Tropics 2 is still a really fun game, and I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't include it in this game. Really would have been nice if they expanded the game lineup further and included that. Considering it was a Nintendo property, it wasn't gonna cost them anything to include it. But so jumping in this game, you either jump up straight forward, or you can jump forward over, you know, pits, and you'll always go one block. So if we try to go 2 blocks, we basically die, just like that. We fall in the water and we die. But yeah, Star Tropics came with this this letter that you're supposed to dip in water, and it actually reveals a piece of a puzzle in the game itself. And so that's actually the letter that people are talking about. It came with an actual, you know, the real Star Tropics boxed game. And I found out how it actually comes in the box is the letter comes glued to the back of the manual. So the one I had that was basically pristine, I made it not pristine by ripping the letter off the back of the manual. But I had no idea until it was too late. So you'll have to flip switches and whatnot, so you want to land on all these blocks, generally speaking, to reveal your switch. And so that switch enabled this door to open. This first dungeon isn't too bad, but the dungeons start to get really difficult. The sort of gridded nature of the gameplay takes a while to get used to, but your character will sort of slide a little bit, and it'll sort of let you strafe in a way. See, notice how I'm sort of strafing to the left, just barely. So that can, you know, once you get into the groove of how that works, it actually feels pretty good. You know, all the enemies move on a grid as well. They don't, you know, move diagonally. Actually, flying enemies might move diagonally. Were there flying enemies in this game? You'll also get health extends. Your life bar gets really large in this game. Probably about as large as it does in The Legend of Zelda. You also get these stars here. You also get potions, which can, you know, replenish your health. You'll get special weapons in each dungeon. I think you can get like a baseball bat. I think that's one of them. You eventually get a long-range projectile towards the end of the game. But again, you have to be really careful because, you know, our boy Mike here apparently is a terrible swimmer. I mean, unless there are like piranhas in that water and we just don't know about them. But let's go ahead and just come over this way. There's a star. This series should come back. I totally agree. Yeah, see, there we go. We do have bats. They can fly diagonally. But any ground-based enemies will move in a up, down, left, right manner. Yeah, Grinch, I mean, I agree. It would have been nice to have continued this series, but I don't know. I always got the idea that, like, Star Tropics 2 wasn't that popular, and that could very well be why the series ended up not continuing. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But it's definitely a thought. Alright, so I guess there's going to be another switch out in that other room, which will open up a vertical doorway. And wow, we've got nothing. Okay. Interesting. What's nice about the NES Classic is you do have save states, and so games like Star Tropics are going to be a lot more doable for a lot of people. Because again, Star Tropics is not really an easy game. You know, it's going to give a lot of people trouble. And there we go. We got some fire. We can hit select to use it. It's just like a short-range projectile. I prefer to save those for parts where I really need them. Your yo-yo is short-range, but it's good enough as is. So, like, we'll use the fire on the boss, most likely. A lot of these dungeons or caves, they have boss fights. And when the music changes like this, a lot of times it means a boss is coming up. So, yeah, this first dungeon isn't all that long. It's basically like your training dungeon, if you will. Before, like, training dungeons were a thing. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it did come out in '94, which was very late in the NES's life. But, I mean, Star Tropics 2 had a lot of criticisms as well from people that were, you know, big fans of the first game. So it had that aspect too, which I don't think helped it at all. So let's come on over here. So that is a potion. And I'm going to actually use a save state here, because this game totally trolls you on this part. If I remember correctly, I think you go through here, and I think you fall to your death. So we're going to save it, and then lock it, and then go right back to it. Okay, it's actually not this one yet. If you go up too far, you'll die. And then guess what? You gotta do the entire dungeon over again, because there are no saves mid-dungeon. Actually, do I have to do the whole thing over? Did I just checkpoint halfway through? Let's find out. Let's go up a room or two. Okay, no, we didn't have to do the whole thing over again. I guess because we did have some lives, which is nice. So, but speaking of which, we're actually probably better reloading our game. Okay, we can actually go back up and do this one. There we go. Grab that potion. I still think Zoto's Revenge is a solid game. I think it definitely would have been nice having it on this collection. Like, it's a good game. It's not... I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it's still a good game. And it's definitely worth playing if you're a fan of NES games. It's also definitely a little more polished in certain ways. Certain ways, not always. And the gameplay is definitely a little bit smoother in certain regards as well. Am I supposed to press start to use my my potions? It's been a long time since I've done that. And the glory of the save state. test that out. So, pause. Yeah, okay. Okay, I just figured that out. Okay. Yeah, so apparently you've got to hit the start menu, or press start to go to your pause menu, and then you can use your potions manually. I wasn't sure if it was a manual use item, or if it was something that, it would use, you know, automatically. So, you can also, if you time it right, you can actually jump over these snakes, kind of like that. The timing is somewhat tight. I think one of the things about Star Tropics 2 that definitely wasn't as good as the first one was the dungeon design was just very, very homogeneous, if you will. Like, everything, a lot of the areas in each dungeon just felt very samey, you know? And there weren't really many big difficulty spikes. The game was actually pretty easy, if I remember correctly. There was some good humor in the game, and there was definitely some good music and so forth. But yeah, the biggest thing was that there just never really felt like there was a ton of like real danger in the game. A lot of the enemy types were kind of boring too. You just fought like generic bears and stuff like that. And they were never really difficult to take out, especially since you could attack diagonally in the game, which made attacking enemies a lot easier. So, but still a fun game. Oh, I am on drugs. You just bought a PS Classic. It is not good. Yeah, I've been trying to talk people out of buying that. So, if you had talked to me before buying it, I would have said, don't buy it. Hey, Smoke, what's going on? Alright. So, I mean, that should give you a bit like a taste of Star Tropics. And look, there's Rob. Rob the robot. Nothing much, just chilling. Right on. Yeah, Grinch says Star Tropics 2 is just too predictable and easy. Yeah. Yeah, so we're basically on another chapter, and there's no going back. And there are actually a couple of things we need to do here. We can go to the lighthouse. And then we can also go to our next dungeon. But we're not going to actually do that. Actually, I'll sort of go to the entrance of the next dungeon in case any of you guys haven't played this and you're just sort of curious as to what happens next. You basically go through here, you can press... Oh, we haven't gotten the skill yet. You'll get a skill which allows you to go underwater, and you'll sort of teleport to those other, like, squiggly lines. He goes, hey, it's Echo the Dolphin! You're a terrible dolphin, Echo, making all those aliens appear. Yeah, so actually what we can do here is go under these rocks and come this way and grab this. You've got a bottle. And so you got an ID code from that, which will allow you to basically enable the dive function, I think, on your sub. Hey, Kitsu, what's going on, man? There we go. You press the B button. And then next dungeon. Star Tropics does have a battery backup save function. So if you're playing on an actual cartridge, it's definitely something good to keep in mind. And here's the baseball bat. Let's go ahead and use it. And we are sucking, so let's... I have no regrets! And Mike was forever stuck in this dungeon for all eternity. Alright, let's do something... I don't know. I should really just play a lot of stuff I haven't really played much of on my channel here, so... do a quick round of Galaga. Oh, Crestline's out there. I didn't see you out there, man. Welcome back, man. And Office goes, hey, Echo. No, that's a Let's Play idea. Yeah, right? Yeah. Carlos never owned a 3D console in the 90s, man. See, that was the best time to own 3D consoles because they were really impressive. Like the early 3D consoles. Yeah, I remember my first one was actually the 32X, believe it or not, and I was blown away by it when I got it in the mid-90s. You know, when the games were good on it, they were really good, like Virtua Fighter and Virtua Racing. Clocked many an hour into those games. Whoops, not even paying attention. So if you guys haven't played Galaga before, it's the sequel to Galaxian. And its big, you know, improvements, aside from, you know, really nice smooth animation and scrolling and stuff like that, whoops, was being able to have a ship be captured. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and just reset that and start over, and so I can demonstrate it properly. And you'd be able to have, if you recaptured your ship, you'd be able to have two ships side by side, doubling your firepower. So there was a risk versus reward element involved in the game. The NES version of the game is actually pretty solid. The screen was definitely scrunched in a lot more because the original game was a vertical-oriented game. And so the space between your ship and the enemies was sort of decreased in the NES version as a result. And there is a scoring system in place. You know, every enemy is worth X amount of points, but if you let the enemies sort of sit together up top, they'll come out in groups with their generals or their masters up top, whatever you want to call them. And if you destroy them when they come down in those groups, they're worth a lot more points. Or at least the generals are up top. If you just blow the generals away without them coming down, they're not worth anywhere near as many points. And you'll be able to see the point difference, you know, as they're flying down, indicating, you know, they're worth more. But a lot of times what I do in Galaga is I just get powered up here, and then I just try to blast as many guys as I can as quickly as possible. And I just sort of play for survival. And then once every few levels you get a challenging stage, which is like a bonus level, to get extra points. You know, this is an early 80s arcade game, so it's all about score. I don't even know if the arcade version of Galaga ends. I want to assume it doesn't. And it just goes on forever and ever, so it's all about the score. Oh, you got to play one of the arcade 1-ups, Leo? And there was tons of glare? That sucks. So I got to play a Street Fighter 2 unit a couple weeks ago, and the glare wasn't really an issue, but maybe it's because that game is full color, whereas like Galaga has a lot of black, a whole lot of nothing, which would probably make the glare a lot more noticeable. So Galaga is one of those games too. It's not really great to mash. It's better off. You're better off, like, you know, tapering your shots, you know, intentionally firing and aiming with purpose, and losing your ship just like that. See, I generally only start mashing in this game when there's a big row of enemies, like right in front of me, where all those mashed shots will actually do something. But, like, you don't want to be sitting here, like mashing the button like this, like it doesn't do anything, because you can only fire 2 shots at a time. And unfortunately, I killed that one, you know, general or leader or whatever, which would have actually let me capture another ship, so I can dual wield, so to say. That's really ideal for these bonus stages like this. These bonus stages are really tough to do with just a single ship, especially later on when the patterns get a lot more complex and whatnot. Yeah, my local Walmart has a Street Fighter 2 set up in the electronics section, so I got to play that. I was actually really tempted to buy one, but a couple of things kept me from doing so. For one, there's no way to capture it. You know, you can't split out the video signal, so there's no way to like run it into a capture card. 2, there are no adjustable settings, so you can't change the difficulty. You can't change any other settings. So Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was set on like one of the higher speed settings. So all the characters were bouncing around like they were on, you know, speed or something. Which basically makes the game unplayable, in my opinion. 3, there was a lot of noticeable screen tearing and screen shimmering and whatnot. Not necessarily screen tearing, but screen shimmer, absolutely. Let's go ahead and get sucked up there. So with those things combined, I was like, yeah, there's no real reason for me to drop $250 on this. The buttons actually did feel pretty decent, you know, all things considered. You know, they feel fairly similar to HAP buttons, which are very common in North America. Also, the sticks seemed fine. You know, yeah, they weren't, like, amazing, but, you know, they got the job done. They were definitely micro-switch sticks. And, you know, they felt good enough to me. The sound actually was probably the best part of it. The sound actually sounded really solid and beefy. Just like that era of arcade machines did. So that was something I was actually kind of surprised about on the Street Fighter 2. But the other issues, really kept me from really heavily considering it. Hey, Mythic, yep, it is fun. It is quite fun. Yeah, Darth, so the paint thing kind of sucks, but if you contact Arcade 1-Up, they will send you replacement, like, panel protectors. So, you know, if someone's going to actually buy those, they need to reach out to Arcade 1-Up to get one of those, you know, protectors. But I don't think they're going to wear as quickly in the home environment because, you know, at Walmart, there's probably 1,000 people that have their hands on them every single day. So, and these aren't things that are really meant to be out in a public environment, you know. But they do have protectors, which are good. One of the things I was kind of disappointed about was the side art was peeling. Like the one at my local Walmart had peeling side art. It's like the side art isn't touched. It's the main control panel art that is touched. So that makes sense that it's worn off. But the side panel art is like peeling off on its own. That's a little disappointing. So apparently, I guess they have solutions for that too. They'll send you like a new side art panel kit. Let's see what everyone else says here. No other recommendations, so I'll go ahead and just pick something else at random too. We haven't really ever played Punch-Out on my channel, so we'll go ahead and just play this for a few minutes too. You're getting an SNES Classic, right on. Yeah, we'll probably do an SNES Classic stream sometime soon too, to sort of follow up on this one. Maybe we'll do that next week. I don't know. Variety streams are fun, because there's variety. Probably not going to play Metroid Bossenberg, because I did a full live stream on that last year. We ran through the entire game, so... Same with Legend of Zelda and Legend of Zelda 2. Probably not going to play those. Probably not going to play Mario 3. We probably actually won't play any of the Marios, to be honest with you. Which also means I probably won't play Castlevania or Mega Man 2 or... I could play Ninja Gaiden, because that's like a 15-minute run. Yeah, so for those of you guys that haven't played Punch-Out, you can basically press A or B to punch left or right, and you can hold up to do the same. You can hold down to block. But ideally, you'd rather just dodge if you can. Just like so. I'm not Mike Tyson, Raymond. Play some Ghosts and Goblins. I can play some Ghosts and Goblins. I can definitely do that. And if you punch him at just the right time, sometimes you'll get a star, which allows you to do a special uppercut by pressing the start button. And the rounds last 3 minutes. And if you knock the guy down 3 times in one round, you'll get a TKO. Blaster Master. Blaster Master's not even on this. Blaster Master's not on this, right? I don't think it is. Just out of curiosity, Carlos, why do you want a PS3 specifically? Are you not able to get a PS4 or Xbox One? Well, I guess PS3s are a lot cheaper. But yeah, new PCs are definitely... I know you were talking about a new PC a while ago, so that, for you, you know, it seems like you live on your PC. It's probably a better investment. To pizza pasta? I don't think Pizza Pasta is in this game. He's one of the ones in the arcade game, right? I just watched the Gaming Historians episode on Punch-Out. Hey, Gaming and Technology, welcome back. Yeah, I didn't think he was in this version. And there we go. TKO. Indeed they do, Bossenberg. Indeed they do. Although the free online play aspect probably won't last that much longer. You know, as like servers start like having their cords pulled and yeah, that sort of stuff. I think that whole aspect will just kind of go down the drain sooner than later, unfortunately. Yeah, being able to play PS1 games on it is fantastic. And I really should bust out my PS3 just to do that. Because I have a lot of PS1 games I want to record, and the video quality might end up being better through the PS3 than it is... No, I don't think it'll be better. Because I do RGB for my PS1, and it's super, super crisp, so... Oof! So, a lot of these characters, if you hit them at very specific times, you'll just knock them down instantly. They also have, like, special attacks they'll do, and a lot of times you can knock them out of that attack if you punch them at just the right time. Piston Honda eventually becomes pretty difficult. You actually have to fight him again later on. But the first time you fight him, he's actually not too bad at all. And that's it. You don't really like the PlayStation. You are missing out on probably one of the best systems of all time. Yeah, there's a whole vodka Drunkinski thing. Oh, man. I think that's what I'm going to name my Twitch stream tonight. All the power went out in your apartment. You didn't get a chance, but when are you doing Tecmo Bowl tonight, if you haven't done it already? I have no idea, Liberal Arts Guy. You prefer X... I prefer this platform. Sorry. I just... always makes me laugh when people have to pick sides, you know? Like... Yeah, just don't get the PlayStation Classic. It's terrible. And yeah, man. I'm missing out by not playing the PlayStation. The original PlayStation has, like... How many games does it have, guys? Doesn't it have something stupid like 1,500 games in North America? I mean... Lots of great popular games, but there's so much obscure stuff on it, too, that is really fun to mess around with. Holy crap, dude. I am totally mistiming this. I prefer the stairs. Me too, Kitsu. It's good exercise. My legs could use it right about now, actually. Hey, John Evan Bear. Yeah, I've been watching Boss and Burf stream through Parasite Eve, and definitely makes me want to play the game. I used to watch my brother play it back in the day, and it always looked cool. But watching Boss and Burf play it, I was like, man, I should really pick that up and actually try to play it. It'd be a good stream game. It's Nicolas Cage, now punch his face. Oh, we just wasted the star. I forget what it is, but I think if it's something like if you hold down select or you do something in the that intermission screen, you'll actually get a little bit of health back. How do you know you're not missing out on anything if you don't know? By the way, Mythic, you do know we're a retro gaming channel, right? We're talking about the original PlayStation. Hell, we can throw the PlayStation 2 into the mix too, and if you haven't played that, then you are also missing out on one of the greatest systems ever made. Yep, Referee Mario. That's right. That's right, Darth. No, I am not, John. No, absolutely not. This stream isn't going to be that long. Last weekend's stream was about 8 hours long. So this is not going to be an 8-hour long stream. It'll probably be... I don't know, we'll probably take it to about 3 hours. We're at almost the 2-hour mark right now. Wait till Smash Brothers Mario. Liberal Arts Guy says Clock Tower might be one of his favorite obscure games on PS1. Yeah. Yeah, Clock Tower is a pretty cool game. Definitely unique. Hey, Society of Sin. Yeah, I agree. I watched the Gaming Historian episode this week, and it was fantastic. Lots of great information in there I didn't even know about. I think I have to smack him in the face when... Yeah, just like that. So there are puzzle elements involved in this game, which is fun. So with King Hippo, you gotta smack him in his mouth. And you only have to knock him down once, too, which is cool. Because he's so fat, he can't get back up. Like, this game was pretty clever, too, for the time, to be honest with you. Your brothers told you can't main Bayonetta. Just play through Metroid real quick. Yeah, real quick being like 3 hours. Oh, congrats, John Evan. That's a fantastic game. If you had a Switch and you got the new Smash, you'd be all about Simon and Richter. Yeah. Yeah, if I played Smash, that's obviously who I'd go to. I mean, also I'd play a little bit of Samus, because that's who I played in Melee. But yeah, I would have to do Simon. Absolutely. What are you doing? Input lag! You notice the ending was a bit different when you rescued all the maidens without a game over. I don't know if a game over scenario changes the ending, but you do get a slightly different ending if you rescue all the maidens. See, I don't remember the last time I actually gamed over in that, so... I don't know what it's like when you game over, so can't imagine it's any different, but maybe it is. Yeah, that's actually funny to think about. Like, I always have so many extra lives in that game when I get to the end that, like, I always effectively one credit clear it. Alright, hold down, 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 down. Uppercut. Just like that. Alright, I should just do one more. Hopefully one more. Yeah, so one of my goals, sometime hopefully soon-ish, is to actually finally beat this game. And then either do a dedicated Let's Play or do like a full live stream of the game. We'll see. I know Tyson is supposed to be really, really difficult, and I've never beaten the game. I've gotten to Tyson in the past. We're gonna have to go to round 3 as well. That's a shame. Oh well, not a big deal. We should actually switch games. We should actually change it up. Hard Hat Mac on Commodore 64? 10,000 years from now, when I'm still doing this as an Android. Yeah, right. Whoa, whoa there, Haas. Whoa there. I must have mistimed my blocks to still get hit like that. You only ever played this in a Verse arcade cabinet. I assume the Versus version was pretty much the same as this one. I don't know if there were any differences. If there are, definitely let me know. I'm curious. I know some of those Versus games that were based on, you know, the NES and Famicom ones did have some differences. Like Versus Super Mario Brothers was like half the game was completely different. Versus Duck Hunt, apparently you could shoot the dog. Versus Castlevania was basically Castlevania that started on the second loop. Oh, this game is still great, man. It's so much fun to play. They did a fantastic job with it. Title bout Bald Bull. Okay, so after Bald Bull, we'll go ahead and switch games. Yeah, it's really awesome how big the character sprites are in this game too. Yeah, that's probably part of what makes this game hold up so well. Is they're just, by NES standards, they're huge. They're pretty well animated for what they are. You know, they got a lot of personality. That's a big part of it. There we go. No, John, he's not talking about the original arcade Punch-Out. He's talking about the Versus games. Not Versus as in, like... Hold on a second. Not Versus as in, like, you verse people, like, with two cabinets linked up. It's just a series of basically NES games released in the arcade. Super Mario Bros. Was one of them. Castlevania was another one. TKO? Well, that's disappointing. Let's see. What have we got here? Yeah, okay, so it actually looks like there wasn't a Versus Punch-Out game. I think, Leo, you might have been confusing it for the Play Choice 10 version of it. Which a lot more games were... let's see... Punch-Out... Play choice. Yeah, so there was a Play Choice 10 version of Punch Out, but that's that's literally just the NES version, slapped on an arcade board setup. So that's Leo's probably confusing the Play Choice 10 version for the actual an actual versus Punch Out. So yeah. Yeah, just because it was on the Play Choice doesn't mean that it's the Versus game. So the Versus versions, they're called like Versus Duck Hunt, Versus Castlevania, Versus Super Mario Brothers. They actually had significant changes from the original NES versions. Like Super Mario Brothers is the big one where many of the levels are made much, much more difficult, and they're much, much more devious. So it's like Super Mario Brothers hard mode, basically. Well, you can, it wasn't a Play Choice cabinet with selectable NES games. Well, I'm pretty sure you could have just a single game on the Play Choice platform. I don't think you had to have selectable games. So, but yeah, a quick search, Leo, pulled up nothing for a Versus Punch-Out, so it likely doesn't exist. If it existed, it would pull up right away. Liberal Arts guy wants to see Tecmo Bowl. We'll play this for a couple minutes. I'm terrible at these games. Indeed, Arioka. That's like the 10th time we've mentioned it so far in this stream. I feel like you guys aren't listening to us. But yes, no, fantastic video. Highly recommend you guys check that out if you guys haven't. So apparently I'm player 1. And holy crap, I forgot how basic this game is compared to Super Tecmo Bowl. The colors are so, like, basic. Still a fun game, but Tecmo Super Bowl was definitely the way to go. You basically do different controller combinations to pick your next play. And so my play right now is to pass. And you'll see arrows that have basically, landing on certain characters. That's the character you're going to pass to. There we go. And it's got typical football rules, you progress like a certain amount of yards, it'll be first down, and, blah, blah, blah. Enrico goes, oh, LOL is away. I didn't know you were away. And they just switch sides. Because I suck. And touchdown. And I still sacked him because I'm awesome. The precursor to Madden? Actually, I think the precursor to Madden, Carlos, was actual John Madden football. I think there was a John Madden football on PC that actually came out before this. I actually had it. It was the very first John Madden football game. Although there were football games before this, like, pretty sure there was some on the Atari 2600. Was there a football game on the 2600? Leo would know. Intellivision probably had a football game. They had a bunch of sports games on Intellivision. And Mike goes, oh Lord, Tecmo. Precursor was Gridiron? Have no idea, Kitsu. Let's just say that sports games are definitely not my expertise. Interception, come on, dude. only sports games that I liked playing was Mario Superstar Baseball and Mario Hoops 3-on-3. Yeah, those are more like arcade-style sports games, and those are the kinds of sports games I enjoy personally. I'm not really a big fan of, like, you know, more simulation-based sports games. This is something I'd consider more of arcade-style. It's very fast-paced. It's just really quick back and forth, which is why these games were really fun back in the day. You know, they weren't simulation-based. You had the basic football rules, but they were still really quick games. And they had a lot of charm with the music and graphics and stuff like that. So, hey, Jose. Yeah, it has been a while, man. Good to see you. I have not played Gradius yet, but I can play it... I can play it next, actually. I want to try something. Super Galimio suggested I do a speed-up only run with no offensive power-ups. And I actually tried practicing that on Twitch last week. Let's just run backwards. One football game I love playing is Great Football on Master System, because you can grab the ball and then just run around the playfield and the opponents can't catch up to you. Alright, that's enough of that. There you go, Liberal Arts Guy. There's your 2 minutes of Tecmo Bowl fame. Alright, Gradius. Where is Gradius? There we go. So what I'm going to do here is try to do speed-ups only. So we will speed up. So, Super Galimio, if you happen to watch the archive, I hope you enjoy this, because I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to do a full Let's Play of this. But I did actually practice it a little bit on Twitch, tried to figure it out, and getting past the volcanoes was the biggest problem. Not to mention the Moai stage was actually pretty difficult as well. Man, this input lag is actually kind of hurting me in this game. Also, the NES Classic Pad, like I mentioned, the rubber domes on the inside of the controller for the D-pad are actually smaller than the original NES set of rubber domes. And so, the buttons, or the domes themselves, are much closer together on the NES Classic Pad. And so I found that that's what makes doing diagonals a little bit too easy on the NES Classic controller. And so that's not really good for an 8-way game like this, where you have to move in all 8 directions and be very, very precise with it. I mean, look at how fast these enemies come out in this game. And we're dead. Oh, that was weird. It was supposed to bank me a power-up, but it didn't. Oh, that was interesting. Unless I actually used it right when I started. I don't know. So basically, one thing I wanted to do here is try to show off that it is actually possible to get through the volcano section without any power-ups. I thought it was impossible, but you kind of want to stay up here, and I want to say it's a little off-center. Let's see if this works. And it's good to shoot, too. There, yeah, you pretty much have to shoot, otherwise some of the rocks from the opposite side will kill you. So that's something that I figured out thanks to the glory of save states on my power pack on the NES. And it's the same thing with the reverse side volcanoes. I think on level 3 or 4, you go to a similar level and you have to, you know, deal with another set of volcanoes. And hey, Girl Geek! Welcome back! No, Kitsu, you gotta keep that Knuckles, you gotta keep that Knuckles thumbnail, man. It's great. Yeah, so again what we're doing is we're doing no power-ups except speed-ups. This game would pretty much be impossible, I think, without speed-ups. But no power-ups, no, like, offensive power-ups. I think it might actually be doable, it's just very difficult. Oops. Was that a speed up? Okay. I used a speed up power up. I thought I used something else by accident. That meme is so dead, I have never even heard of it before. That's how dead it is. Yes, there are liberal arts, guy. So, to access the save states, you basically hit the, you hit the reset button and you die in the process. You press down, and then you hold down the A button to save it. And so we basically just died. And if you wanted to relive the glory of death in Gradius, we just go down and we reload it. Bam! Again. And again. Amazing, right? Yeah, and you have 4 slots that you can save to, which is nice. Alright, well that's enough of that. Showing off the volcanoes without power-ups is good enough. That's a good enough accomplishment. So for anyone that is having problems with the volcano section, there are a couple different strategies. Like if you've got your options, you can use those and layer them a certain way. When you're fully powered up, you shouldn't die. But if you want to just like sit in like a perfect safety zone, there is a safety zone. As long as you're continuing to fire as well, so that's pretty cool. So, DMC5 demo is Xbox One exclusive. Who cares? It's just a demo. You don't want to spoil the game anyway. I don't even bother with demos these days. I just go out and get the game, and I enjoy it. So that is almost everything. No, not necessarily sure. We still got Balloon Fight and Donkey Kong Jr. It's 4 slots per game, Brandon. Yeah, so every game has its own 4 save slots. So, like I can hit reset right now and go down. So, yep. See? And there we go. Balloon Fight's a really fun game. You have 2 modes, the 1-player game and then Balloon Trip. We'll do both modes. But it's kind of like, imagine Joust, except you're floating in the air. Well, I guess technically you're floating in the air in Joust as well. But you need to pop the opponent's balloons, or slam right into them before they actually blow up their balloons. And then as they fall down like that, you can actually hit them again to get some extra points. You don't want to actually go near the water, because there are enemies that'll come and try to eat you. Oh, just like that. I had to show that off. Yeah, Balloon Fight's a really fun game. It's actually one of my favorite early black box NES games. Now, since Leo was mentioning the Versus Nintendo arcade games, this might actually be one that had a Versus version, which was probably more difficult than the original NES cartridge version. Yeah, each balloon on you, by the way, is a hit point. And when both balloons get popped, or if you get zapped from below, you lose a life. There we go. And once every few levels, there's a bonus stage, kind of like Galaga. And the idea is just to grab as many balloons as you can. One thing that's nice about this game is that the screen wraps around, so you can use that to your advantage. And we missed 2. But yeah, we'll play until we game over here, which probably won't be that long from now, because I am very rusty at this game. They used to do high score challenges over on Atari Age, and this was one of the games that we played there for that. Many, many years ago. Probably like 6 years ago. Maybe longer. Gosh, shows how long I've been on that damn forum. So, you know, for that competition, I actually played this quite a bit. That's where I really started to appreciate the game, because I had never really put any time into it prior to that. Smack that guy in the face. I did Girl Geek, I just haven't been able to connect to the internet yet, download drivers or anything. We actually installed both Windows 7 and Windows 10. Alright, so that's that. We'll do Balloon Trip. Balloon Trip is a auto-scroller game. And you want to collect as many balloons as you can and survive. And this is a fun mode. It's definitely quite different from the main game. Whereas the main game is like Joust, this is sort of its own thing. And for those of you guys that haven't owned a Wii U and haven't played Nintendo Land, this is actually a one of the mini games in Nintendo Land. They did a really good job of bringing it back for that game. It's one of my favorite games in Nintendo Land. If you haven't played much of Nintendo Land, I do recommend it if you have a Wii U. It's a great game. So, wow. One life, that's it. It's a good excuse to change games. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna leave it as a 7 and 10 dual boot, John, because it has 3 hard drives in it. So I've got one OS and one hard drive, one on the other, and then a big platter just for anything else I need. Well, you were there before me, Leo. So I've been there for 9 years now. It's either late 2009 or early 2010. The only game you played in Nintendo Land was the F-Zero one. Oh, man. Yeah, gotta play the other ones. The other ones are really fun. Let's do a quick round of Dr. Mario. But yeah, Nintendo Land's a really fun game, especially once you start earning credits and tokens, you start unlocking stuff. The Balloon Trip game is really good. The Zelda game, where you basically play like first person, and it's like a light gun shooter but with arrows. That's really good too, especially when you try to go through again and boost your ranking and score and whatnot. I can't even install Windows 98 drivers, or drivers on Windows 98, Girl Geek. Let me install this operating system that like won't even like function on this computer. Oh wow, 2003, Leo. That's crazy. This might actually be the one game you could beat me on? Yeah, I don't know. think you assume too much, Girl Geek. It's okay, you can get really good at Last Action Hero, and then one of these days when we actually meet each other in person at a pinball convention or something, we'll have a good versus go on that. A pinball machine I used to own and a pinball machine you now own that you should theoretically eventually be masterful at. That'd be a good versus game. The PS3 I own play PS2 games? It does not. Those are only really early models of PS3s, and I own a late model Super Slim. NES remakes probably will be released on Wii U, Arioka. They'll probably combine them both into a single package, just like they kind of did that for 3DS, right? Yeah, I could totally see that happening. Alright, so what we're gonna do is play some Dr. Mario. And get wrecked. Gonna get wrecked. Oops, I'm not paying attention. Let's start over. Let's kill ourselves. So when am I going to Pinburg? When I don't work overnights anymore, and I've got money to spend. Which is neither at the moment. So if you've never played Dr. Mario before, you want to clear out the viruses. In order to do that, you have to line up 3 colors to the viruses directly. It could either be horizontally, or it can be vertically. Now, if there are 2 viruses lined up together, all it actually takes is 2 of the same color to eradicate them. So just like that. Look at that. That was nice. I'm proud of myself. Yeah, Dr. Mario is a really fun game, actually. I actually had this as a kid and played it a lot more than I probably should have. But yeah, really great game. It's a classic. And let's see what I can do here. Not a whole lot, unfortunately. I'm kind of screwing myself here. Let's actually get rid of this one. Slowly whittle this guy down. Just like so. Okay, good. Good stuff. Making progress. And, I'm gonna actually try this. I'm gonna try to get rid of this red one down here if I can. See, on level 20 here, you have to sort of really think about what you're doing. I'm gonna actually get rid of that. And, that's actually not really what I wanted to do. So actually what I wanted to do was this. Bam, just like that. Hell yeah. And that was actually really bad too. Now I'm really not playing well. It's okay, not the end of the world. Let's see what we can do here. We can get this guy, get rid of him. Let's stack these to try to get rid of these red ones. Well, that's not good. Crap. There we go. Okay, that's better. Alright, let's delete that. Destroy that. Let's go ahead and get rid of that, actually. So I can focus on these guys. Just like so. Focus on him. And if I want, I can try to squeeze that down like that. Let's do this. And then do that. And then do this. Hey, hey, look at that. Nice combo. And do that. Pop that. Pop this. Get rid of that. Let's see. Yeah, we'll drop this here. And we'll try to get rid of that guy up there, the red one. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. And then just like that. Okay, we're doing alright. Oh! Not doing alright. That actually just kind of screwed me over big time. There is still a way out of this, I think. Maybe. I'm gonna have to go sideways on some of these. It's one of the fun things about Dr. Mario is you start to have to really improvise quite a bit. That's actually not good. What am I doing? It's okay. Just gotta be patient. That's all. So another thing I could do is... yeah. Stack these together. See, there are two blue guys over there on the right. So as long as I can get a blue pill... or this one, I can hit him horizontally. Hit him horizontally. And then I can try to hit those blue guys horizontally. Alright. So let's go ahead and get rid of these yellow pills. Just like so. And then try to get rid of that blue guy down there. Now if I can get a double of the blue pills, then I'll be able to take out those two blue guys on the far right. But I'm just there's a double. So we'll just let this fall straight down. Press right. Bam. There they are. Yeah, sorry I'm not even looking at chat right now. It's like if I look at chat, I'm pretty much gonna die right away, so I'll look at chat once I'm done here. So one thing I can do is... oh, I can't do it. I messed up. Totally messed up. It's okay. I'm gonna sort of try to cheat my way through this. Not really cheat, but it's risky. One thing I can also do is... well, not that. Trying to get really fancy here, and it's gonna end up killing me in the process. Alright, we're pretty much done. Wait, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to... there you go. See, that was worth it. Oops, I flipped out the wrong way. Wrong way, man. What are you doing, Austin? What are you doing, man? Crap. And... see, that was actually pretty good up to that point. But then, like, I started to get, really risky. I was like, I'm gonna stack these blocks up really high so I can attack this one virus and it'll make the blocks drop down to the bottom, and... you know, I ended up paying the price for doing that, but yeah, Dr. Mario is a great game. It's always fun to go back to. Yeah, it's good. So, let's see. What are you guys talking about? Too bad about Joust. It's much better than Balloon Fight. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I like Balloon Fight a lot. It's a lot of fun. Boston Bears is such a great song. Hell yeah. And Office says, lots of killing oneself in this stream. So sad. What are some good exclusives for Xbox One, says John Evan Bear? Halo Master Chief Collection. Rare Replay, yeah. Sunset Overdrive is a big one for me. Recore. Ori and the Blind Forest. Although some of these are on PC now. But yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest, which also has a definitive edition and a sequel's coming out. Yeah, those are really solid. I'm trying to think of what other exclusives there are. I mean, you've got stuff like the Gears of War games, the Forza games, which may or may not be up your alley. There's some other stuff by Microsoft. Yeah, Sunset Overdrive was the big one for me personally, and I played the hell out of that. Adam Henry says, I have an NES Classic with 500 games. Leah goes, I suspect we're about to lose the patience. At least this isn't 40 minutes of Tetris Attack. Are you going to play Kirby? Indeed it is, Girl Geek. It is on PC. I was going to say that, but I was like, yeah, no one really cares. I hope they release a Xbox One X patch of Sunset Overdrive. I really hope they do that. I don't think they're going to, but that would be awesome if they did. Yeah, Rise to the Rome is not really a great game, but it is an exclusive. And it's super cheap. It's, you know, it might be worth checking out. Yeah, I actually bought Rise to the Rome when it, not when it first came out, but, you know, a couple months after it came out. One of the first really cheap games on the Xbox One. Like, even, like, less than 6 months after it came out, I think I paid, like, $15 for it. Or less. And I ended up running through the game, like, in a couple of day time span. I didn't mind it, you know? For what it was fine, but it kind of lacked, like, replay value, you know? It was one of those games where, like, you kind of go through it once, maybe try it on a harder mode the second time, and then you kind of just never play it again. Indeed, Girl Geek, yep. The classic Donkey Kong theme started in this. Battle Princess Madeline came out today. It looks like a great Ghosts and Goblins clone, or Ghouls and Ghosts clone. What system is that on, Leo? If you've never played Donkey Kong before, if you fall too far, you do die. And Mario does not have to fall very far at all in this game. So, like, watch this. Oh, dead. So, yeah. This isn't, the Mario from Super Mario Brothers in terms of, you know, his ability to run and jump. He is far more limited in this game. But yeah, this is also the NES version of the game, which is great from, like, a graphics and gameplay perspective. Definitely the best version from the time, you know, as far as home versions are concerned, in terms of gameplay and the silky smooth frame rate and whatnot. But it's also missing the Pi level, the Pi factory. So it's also kind of infamous for missing that. It's also missing the between level sequences, like the how high can you get? Oh, cool. So there's an Xbox One release. I'll definitely look out for that, Leo. If it's a Ghouls and Ghosts clone, that sounds right up my alley. You're making up that fun fact right now. Yeah, I think there were other games that had fall damage before this game. I think there were some 2600 games that would do it too. I don't remember any off the top of my head, but like there were so many games on that platform, like there had to have been something. Death by toe stub, pretty much. Pretty much. So game B basically just puts you on a slightly higher mode. Slightly harder mode. So we will do DK Jr. The Toki remake is multi-platform. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna check out the Toki remake because it's got the super polished graphics that they went for. They don't really fit, to be honest with you. They didn't really improve the actual animation, and so it looks kind of goofy. Like, kind of like a cut and paste job. So I don't know if I'm gonna get that version of Toki. I'd personally rather just a straight arcade port, to be honest with you. Like, with the original visuals. Yep. Yeah, it's missing a lot of stuff like that liberal arts guy. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the many details that's missing. So on this level in Donkey Kong Jr., you can sort of shortcut your way up onto that moving platform. And in Donkey Kong Jr., you can go down these chains a lot faster if you just latch on to one and you go down. Going up them, you're faster if you're grabbing onto both or two. And if you are only grabbing onto one, you go up a lot slower, kind of like this. So there's a little bit of strategy involved with that. Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong were some of the first NES games I ever played. It was one of the first NES carts we ever got on my system via the Donkey Kong Classics pack, which had both games in one. Pretty popular seller from what I understand. A lot of people had that one back in the day. Not to say we played it a lot, because we didn't really understand the concept of looping. You know, we would beat the game a couple times, and be like, we're bored. Not realizing that the game gets significantly more difficult the farther you loop. Have I beaten the arcade version of Life Force? I have not. Pitfall for the 2600. I don't think Pitfall for the 2600 has fall damage. Like, if you fall into a cave and land on the ground, I don't think you die. Now, it does have things like, you know, obstacles that can kill you, but I don't think it's got fall damage. 2600 port of this. I haven't actually played the 2600 version. Oh, Pitfall 2, says Lord JP. Okay. Keeping it old school tonight with the original DK. That's right. Yeah, Pitfall 2 might have fall damage. That's a game I need to learn how to beat. That'll be a fun, like, quick Let's Play to do. Let's see if we can squeeze past that guy. But my problem with 2600 stuff is I just don't have a way of capturing it outside of emulation that looks good. I've got a composite modded 2600 and an S-Video modded 7800. But, oh, so it's not like I guess technically that is fall damage, Leo. But when okay, so when I was mentioning fall damage, I meant like when you die by falling too far, not like you lose some points or something. But okay, I mean losing points and stuff like that. That's technically fall damage. You know, you do get punished. Oof, but not like that where like I just died. We just killed a kid, by the way. It's just a baby donkey, not baby donkey. A baby ape. And I just fell that little bit, and I died again. And again. You gotta get that just right, otherwise it doesn't work. K-Town has played this a lot. It's always great to hear. It's interesting that he can like jump off that spring as high as he does and land, and he's just fine. But if he like slips off a platform and falls half the height, he still dies. A little bit of an inconsistency there, I'd say. Where are you getting these birds from, Mario? We're at the 2.5 hour mark, trying to figure out how much longer I should go here. I'm getting really hungry again, man. I ate right before I did this stream, yet I'm super hungry right now. It makes no sense. Yeah, Lord JP, they do feel really good on the NES. What we'll do here is we'll try to beat this level, and then we'll swap games. You know, I'm thinking with my stomach more so than anything else right now. Man, I'm so hungry. And it is too late to order some pizza and chicken bites. I think they close up in 20 minutes. I actually probably could order it right now. Alright, and that is Donkey Kong Jr. Yeah, so we've sampled a bunch of different games on the system. I'm probably not going to bother with Pac-Man right now. Let's do, we'll do one quick little session with Ninja Gaiden, and I think what we'll do is call it a stream. And, let's see what else is going on YouTube right now. I wonder if anyone else I follow is streaming. Alright. So, quick run of Ninja Gaiden. Maybe not the whole thing. Depending on how much this input lag kills me. Yeah, I definitely noticed the sound effect difference on this one. It is, wow, this sounds so bad to my ears, actually. It's kind of funny. And I'm definitely noticing the input lag more in this because, you know, I can actually speedrun this game, and the timing is just all off right now. Do I have Twitch plans? I believe I do, Leo. I need to get some food in my stomach first. So speaking of food in my stomach, man, my stomach is absolutely killing me right now. Absolutely killing me now. Lord JP goes, this is where it's at. So badass. So what I'm going to do, guys, is actually kill myself here. Is there really going to be a new Mortal Kombat next year? I have no idea, John. You tell me. So what we're going to do here, guys, is try something a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, but I want to... Wait, hold on a second. Oh, never mind. I can't try it different. Let's try something different, because he went offline. Son of a... Nate, why did you go offline, Nate? Alright, never mind. I was gonna say we could try to raid Solid Nate. He must have just ended his stream, like, right when I looked at it. So... yeah, it's fine, Leo. You know, the classic controller's fine. It's a little bit too easy to do diagonals by accident. It's not that bad, but I definitely noticed it on games like Gradius. But yeah, overall it feels really good. It's, you know, the buttons are nice and snappy. It feels quite solid. The internals are a tiny bit different. Not drastically different, but different enough to have a slightly different feel on the D-pad. The buttons themselves, though, they actually feel really solid. So... But yeah, no, it's good overall, Leo. And I actually picked up some spare controllers at Walmart, which was nice. Finally, got some at, you know, the retail price. But yeah, guys, I think I'm going to end the stream now. I was going to wait until the 3-hour mark. That's about 20 minutes away. My stomach is absolutely killing me right now, so I'm going to try to go grab some food of some kind. I have to try to figure out what I'm going to do with that. So... if you guys have any last-minute questions or comments, I can chat. The SNES Classic controller is fantastic. I think they actually did a better job with that than the NES Classic controller. I don't have any issues with diagonals on that one. It's really, really fantastic. So, have I beaten Ninja Gaiden on the Master System? Regretfully, I have. It was a really frustrating experience, but for all the wrong reasons. I will do it again, and I'll probably do a Let's Play on it, but I'll have to definitely do some practice on it. God stream or good stream? Both. Hey, no, see you, Raymond. Thank you once again for your super chat. And yeah, Leo, I'll see you over on Twitch most likely. If I go live there, it'll probably be within the hour, because I do need to get some food in my stomach. And definitely need some food in my stomach. Are we planning on a Saturday stream? Probably not. I haven't done any Saturday streams in a while, just because I've either been busy with other stuff over on Twitch, or I've slept through most of my Saturday nights, or I just haven't really been up for it. So, the problem with doing Saturday streams is I have 3 days off each week. I spend my Thursday nights doing my YouTube stream. That's 1 day off. Sometimes I would spend my Saturday nights doing streams on YouTube. That's another day off. I basically spend 2 out of my 3 days off doing live streams on YouTube, which means no free time to myself. And then a lot of times Friday, I'll spend that time recording a Let's Play video and editing and rendering it, which is why I haven't been doing many Saturday streams lately, because I felt like I was burning myself out and I was just blowing away my time off from work. If you know what I mean. So, you know, like, I spent a ton of time on this. I spent way more time on this channel than I should. And while I get some really generous kickbacks, you know, in the forms of super chats and Patreon, like, the amount of money I make here barely offsets the amount of time that I put into this. It's really... I really shouldn't even be spending as much time on my channel as I do, but, like, I really want to see it grow. And, you know, there's always, like, it's growing. It's not growing super fast, but there's always this, like, little inkling in the back of my mind, like, I just know that it could grow faster, and maybe if I just stick with it a little while longer, it'll start snowballing a lot faster. But lately I've been having to pull back a little bit on, like, the multiple streams a week on YouTube, just because, you know, I need to have personal time, especially, like, in the first half of the week when I'm working at my job. I don't really get a ton of good quality personal time to myself because of the overnight shift and my long hours. And when I come home from work, I stream on Twitch, which is just very casual. It's just me trying to relax. And then when it comes to my days off, I don't do anything like that really allows me to really feel like I've spent quality time outside work. Like, when I stream here on YouTube, it's work. When I stream here on YouTube on Saturday, again, it's also work. And then when I'm doing my Let's Plays on Fridays, it's more work. And it's just work outside of work, which is also work. If you know what I mean. So, yeah, I really should actually pull things back more than that. But I do want to do some more Saturday streams, but I need to get to a point where, like, I feel like I'm not getting burnt out from it. But I do want to cover some more Doom WODs, which those are usually best covered on Saturday streams, since they're just sort of like the surprise streams that people don't see coming. So, hey, Gaming Gecko Girl, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on over. I think I think you came over from Darth's stream, so I don't think Sarah is still out there, but thank you very much, Sarah, for shouting out my channel here. I appreciate it. Arioka said, God of War just won Game of the Year. Did God of War come out this year? Oh, that was this year, wasn't it? Man, I felt, see, like this generation is just blending, like every year of this generation is just blending into one another. I thought God of War came out last year. And Possum Burp says personal time is great. But yeah, Gaming Gecko Girl, thanks once again for subbing. I appreciate it. Yeah, so for those of you guys new to the channel, I post Let's Plays every Sunday, and I do live streams every Thursday night. And then occasionally I will do Saturday streams as well. But lately it's just been Let's Play Sundays and live stream Thursdays. So at least that's the plan right now. That plan might change after the new year, but I have to figure out an alternate schedule and see what I can do about that. So. But alrighty, guys, I think that's going to do it for me. Let me go get some food into my stomach. So we'll go ahead and do the old Patreon shoutouts again. I hope I don't get many copyright claims on this with playing all the games that we did. But thanks, everyone that is supporting my channel via Patreon. And let's see, and likewise with the recent live stream super chatters. So, and I need to start like marking people's names in like gold, like people that are donating every week. Like Raymond would be at the top of the damn list. So thank you so much, Raymond. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me, guys. I will see you guys next week. Maybe we'll do another variety stream. Maybe we'll do something a little more focused. I don't know. Maybe we'll do some more PC stuff because I have my Windows 95 and 98 builds now, as well as XP builds. That we can capture directly from. I've got a lot of things to choose from. So lots of things to choose from. So, hey, no problem, Arioka. No problem, Lord JP. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And that Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure Let's Play. God. Oh, man. Solid Nate, man. You need to be streaming. I was going to raid you. Man, and you just went offline like right as I clicked your stream. I was really disappointed. I was going to try to give you an old raid, man. I've never done that before on YouTube. Normally my stream lasts so long, no one else I know is streaming after I'm done. I'm always like the last one standing, so. But alrighty, guys, that's pretty much it. Take care, guys. I will see you later. And, yeah, I guess till the next one, take it easy.